Welcome back. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for subscribing to this channel, and we're going to continue. My voice is still not good, but however, we have to proceed. So I'm going to clear all this. Hope now you all understood what we have with the flex. I didn't cover it all up for the purpose of the tutorial, but we're going to have it at least done. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and create my login screen. All right. So I turned on autosave by going to file, then I choose autosave. I can untick it by choosing save or untick it in any way. All right, so let me first go to my browser. I want to move the login screen. I'm going to create a folder called auth under the login screen, and then I'll put so I'll call it auth. And then I'll put my login inside here and the dashboard inside there. So we're going to start with the login screen. Okay, so I move it. I'm going to go to app.js and update it that it is under auth. So under screens auth, login screen, it has been automatically added by React. All right, so I'll go to the login screen and then we start the action. Okay, so we need to have a text input and a text. Okay, so those are the things I'm going to start with. Right now it's empty. I thought it was loading, but it's just empty. So the first thing I'm going to have is a text. Okay, so the text, the first thing will be phone number. Okay, I'm trying to follow the design that you see on the screen. And then, of course, it is up there. So what do we need to do? We need to come to our style and we add a flex of 1. So style is equal to flex 1. Okay, what have I typed wrong? Style is equal to a flex of 1. All right, let me hope it updates. Okay. So we need again to justify. So justify content. As you can observe here on the phone, the content is up. Okay. So we're going to justify content and then we put it in the center. So it will be on the left, it will be centered, but on the left. And again, we're going to align items. Okay, I think my machine is a bit slow, so it's taking long to load. All right, so there it is. And then I'm going to choose align items. Again, center. So the phone number is there. All right, so let me first go to the text input. So which will be text input. There it is. Okay, so it is supposed to be a self-closing tag. And it will take in some values. Okay, for example, let me give it something. First, I will enter a placeholder, which will be, let's say, enter phone number. So there we go. We have our input. So we have our input. So this is when I'm going to justify to align the items to center. I really hate saving all the time, but I also hate it that it loads. I think I need somewhere to set how long it should take to load the moment I release my cursor. Let me turn autosave off for this project. So I can always save. Otherwise, every time it gives me an error when it loads, it reloads the whole, it terminates the whole project and then has to reload it again. Yet I'm still typing. Okay, so they align to the center. So now we're going to go to our styling. Okay, so some of the styling may come from outside the item, and then we can have more styling. Okay, so I'm going to first copy this view. I'm going to put a view on top of the views. So I'll put a view outside the view so that I have two views, okay? It's supposed to be capital V. Okay. So that I can have two inputs, as you can observe on the prototype. So two inputs. So if one is of the phone input, then the other will be of the password. So I'll do password. Forgive me if I spell it the wrong way. As some people join it, so it will be enter password or enter code for the password, okay? And then at the bottom, I'm going to put another view where I'm going to put the button. So view, which view will have a button. So inside, I'll have a view or attachable opacity. So I'm going to do a view or attachable opacity. Let me first do a view so that we have the button design. And this will have a text inside, which will be a button. So text, which is going to be a button, which button will be login. Okay, so I'll save, and then everything should update. All right, so we have a problem. Everything has gone back up there because I need to take my style back up. So I'll cut it and then put it in the main view. Okay, so I'll just, I think I need to engage prettier. All right, so you can see our button at the bottom, and then you can see the password and the enter code, and then these two are in the same place since they're in the center. So what are we going to do? Okay, align item center. I need to take off this, and I'll give it a different style. Great. All right, so let me get this and give it a certain value. So the first thing I want to make sure that we have a padding, margin top, and maybe I'll give it a margin top of about 10 so that it can leave the previous one. Okay, so there's a gap there. And then I'm going to do something. One, when we click, if we click, we're going to get a keyboard. So what type of keyboard do you need? Do you need numbers? Okay. So I'll come to where's my phone number? I'll come to the text phone input and I type keyboard type. Now, all this can be got from the React Native documentation. If I come to the React Native documentation and I search for input, okay, so text input, did I choose? Okay, here it is, text input. So if you scroll and read through, you have various, anything that you need about, or any property that you need for the text input, okay? You'll find it, all right? So you can allow font scaling, auto capitalize, which we shall not, which we shall put to false, because we may not, for example, we may not want, what auto capitalize will capitalize the first letter, so we may not need that, especially when someone is typing a password. Autocomplete, so some are for Android, others are for iOS. Okay, autocorrect, autofocus. So you can see true auto focuses the input on the component if the component mounts. Okay. All right, so I'm going to look for keyboard. So enter key hint. Okay, so keyboard type is what I'm looking for. Okay, so what do you need? By default, okay, so do you need number keypad, decimal pad, numeric, email address, phone pad, URL? Okay, so what would you need? So that's the purpose of that. Okay, so we're going to come to this and then we type keyboard type, keyboard type. There it is. And then we want it to have a number pad. Number pad. Okay, so if I save, engaging that keyboard, or I've put it on the password, so I have to click on the password and you can see it is number pad. Otherwise, I don't want it like that. I want it here. Okay. So if I click in there, it will bring numbers and I can type a number just like that. All right, so we need to engage more on our content and we beautify it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a universal style, okay? And then I use it in some of these. All right, so I'm going to add a style here, okay? Which will equal to maybe general style, the overall style, okay? General style, okay? And then maybe what I'll use for this input, I'll put it as auth text input. Right, so I'm going to import that style. I know I haven't created it yet, but let me import it. Or like, so that whatever we do one side, it updates this side. So I'm going to do, let me add 2 spaces. I'm going to import. Okay, my machine, okay, it's freezing. Gen style from. Okay, do we need to go out? Let me see. Yes, we need to look for styles. I don't need to go out. Do I know? So we need to look for, okay, let me see. Okay, so we just need to go to styles, and then inside styles we're going to create one called gen style. Okay, so gen style with a small, okay, gen style. All right, so we're going to go to styles, and then we create a new file and we call it gen style. Gen style.js. All right, so what I want to be sure of is whatever I update this side will update automatically the other side. So we're going to go to gen style, and then we import the style itself. Okay, so we're going to import a style sheet from React Native. So import the style sheet object. Remember, this is a module. So style sheet from React Native. I may also import dimensions. So from React Native, not React Native types, we may stick on that for the whole day. All right, and then we create a constant which is going to be styles, which will equal now to the style sheet object. Okay, and then we create dot create. Okay, and then remember we have our text input, so auth text input, which is going to carry all these. So first of all, it's going to carry a background color of white. Okay, I'll save and we see what we have. Okay, I still have an error. Okay, so the error is about the styles folder. It can't find it. So let me see where it is. I'm in the login screen, which is login screen. Okay, so let me first do this and we see about the path. So do this auth, and I'll go out of auth. Okay, then I can look at styles. Then I get gen style. Great. So that should solve the issue. All right, so I'm going to come back to our styles. I've done a background color of white. Let me do a background color of red for you to see what is actually happening. Oh, my bad. So it is not loading the color because we've not exported the component. So export default styles. So the styles we're referring to is this constant here that was created. Export default styles. All right, so if I save, it should be okay. It should be able to load. So the background color, we want a white one. Great. And then the border, we need red. And then we need the border radius. Okay. We also need the border color. Border color is there, red. Great. Then we need the border radius. So let me first give maybe a height to the input, which I want to give 50. But in the future, I want that height to scale according to the device. And then maybe a border width. Border width, which is going to be 1. Okay. So we're also going to have a border radius to make it rounded. So border radius, which I want to make 10. So it has made it rounded a bit. And then I want to get the screen width. So I'll import something called dimensions. If I come to our React Native, and then we look for the APIs. Let me see. APIs, I'll type here dimensions. When I need to get the screen width, I'll use the dimensions API. Okay, so dimensions. All right, so to use dimensions, we need to import dimensions from React Native. Okay, and then we can get the width and the height, either to use to get the window or to get the screen. Okay, and if you decide to render, you can get the width and the height of the whole dimensions. Okay, so let me see if we can do something. Okay, so I'll import dimensions and then dimensions, and then I need to create the constant, okay, that is needed for the height, or a constant that is needed for, but I'll do that later. Let me hard code it that I want the, for example, the width. So the width of that text input is going to be the dimensions, okay, API. So I get through the dimensions object, I get the size of the screen. I'll render this one time, don't worry. And then in the size of the screen, I want to access the width. Okay. And then I can subtract about 50 from it. So if we save, there we go. Okay, so I want to have a margin at the top for the text input. So margin top, which I'll put as 10. And then I need some padding. If you look at the content here, okay, so if you look at it, you can observe that our text is starting at the beginning of the input. So that's why we need some padding. Okay, I'll do a general padding of all, even at the top, which I'll put as 10. Okay, so if I save, you can see that now our text begins inside. Okay, so what more do I need? I want a font size of about 22. Font size. And then I want the text color to be a certain color. We shall come to that too. So the color, okay, can be, I'll hash it, 813B82. Okay, so if I save, and start typing, there you go. Okay, so I'm also not interested in the red color for the border radius. It will be the same color code at the bottom here, according to our design. Okay, there you go. All right, so we shall have to add just the text, but we can also do for the button, I think. Okay, so if I come back to the login, I'm going to get the same style and put it on the other text input for the password. Great. So I also want to do one for the button. Okay. So I'll do style is equal to gen style, the gen style that we imported. Gen style, great. Dot auth button. That's what I'm going to call it. Auth button. And this is temporarily, it can change anytime. Okay, so I'm going to go to the auth button in the styles here. So I'll add one called auth button. Okay, so I'll give it a background color of a certain color code. I'm giving the button, So background color, I'm trying to follow a word design. So background color will take this code, this color code. Okay, there you go. And then I also want the same dimensions. So I'll come and pick the width. Put the dimensions. Okay. I want to give it a height of 50. Same here. Great. I want it to have a border radius of 10. Great. I want to justify to the center. So justify content. Center. And then I want it to be a distance from the top, which will be the margin top. Margin top, which will be about 30. Great. So I need the color of the text to be something different. So I'll come to the login screen. Then I come to the text. I want to change the text color to be white, of course. Okay, so let me first change the text color to be white, then I'll align the text. Okay, so style is equal to color. So color is going to be white. There you go. Then I need to change the font size too. So I'll align text. Oh, it's text align, which will be again center. Great. Then I want also that text to be a bit bold. So which will be a font weight. Which will be bold. Okay, so we do have the login, but we do have a challenge. We do have a challenge. Okay, so let me see. So login. Okay. I think everything is at the center. Everything is at the center. I think it is okay. Maybe one thing I can do is work on the text itself, but it is okay. I could center it. All right, so that is for the login screen. In the next video, we're going to see how you can make reusable components where the text and you don't need to retype and then you need to make one style, and then it will spread out to all the inputs, the buttons and whatsoever. So whenever you need a button, you just change the color, but the button, you just import the button component once. Thank you so much. Let's meet in the next video.